I'm Teresa Carraggio, and this is Third Paradigm. I'm outside again, right between my winter Daphne, which is so fragrant, and my Valentine flowers from my daughter and her boyfriend. And I'm recording in front of this garage door just in case by next time it has been replaced with large double doors. So progress is being made. My topic today is why argue, and that is not a rhetorical question. My subtitle is Screening Memes, otherwise known as memes. Most of these are from Tonica of Visceral Adventures and her end-of-year meme launch. And then some are from Conspirat and one bonus video from Julia's School of Fish. But you have to go to thirdparadigm.substack.com in order to see these, and I highly recommend it. But I will do my best to explain each meme at the end of each paragraph. An argument, as I define it, is a productive disagreement. All learning starts with a disagreement in the mind between a new fact or new logic that gets introduced, and you choose to shift your mind to include it, or you enclose it within the constraints of other facts and logic that contradict it. There's an internal argument that goes on between the existing organization of thoughts and the thought that disrupts that organization. In a healthy mind, learning happens no matter which side wins, because the system of thinking expands to fit the new idea within it, or counters it with its own logical consistency. It is never a threat. And then I have Captain Kirk asking Spock, "How are you always so calm?" Spock answers, "Because I don't argue with stupid people. I just cut it short and say, 'You're right.'" Kirk says, "That's completely ridiculous." Spock says, "You're right." A healthy argument between people simply takes this outside the mind and into the dynamic of a relationship. Each person is presenting a hypothesis which makes sense to them of the sphere of known facts. In any disagreement between these hypotheses, one person's sphere of relevant facts is larger. Their facts are more factual, or their logic is more logical, perhaps all three. To agree or disagree, or to compromise so both win, creates two half-truths instead of one tested bigger truth. And this meme has the left saying 2 + 2 = 5, the right saying 2 + 2 = 4, and the center saying clearly 2 + 2 = 4.5. And clearly, anytime a group lays claim to the truth, like right versus left, it's another trick. The fastest way to agreement are the 4 words, "You and me, babe. We're better, we're superior, we're smarter than them." And the fastest way to argument is some version of, "No, we're not." For a competitive mindset, this is seen as trying to one-up the other person by claiming moral superiority, as in, "I'm better than you because you see yourself as better than other people." And I have yet to figure out a way around that. And then there's a meme with that usual sign of virtue signaling with rainbow letters, but this one says, "In this house, we believe that simplistic platitudes, trite tautologies, and semantically overloaded aphorisms are poor substitutes for respectful and rational discussions about complex issues." Rather than arguing for our final conclusion, a true argument takes the disagreement down to its prime number, its lowest common denominator. In arborist terms, this is where the division starts, whether it's at the twig, at the branch, the graft onto the stem, or at the root. You may be arguing Mutsus versus Pippins or apples versus oranges, so be clear about where you disagree. Then it says Networking 101, and it says, "Hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die." Inigo's Guide to Networking Success. 1. Polite greeting. 2. Name. 3. Relevant personal link. 4. Manage expectations. The school-to-mind-prison pipeline has taught us to capitulate, a word that means to cut off the head and hand it over when there's someone in authority we want to please. We might change our mind for people who are credentialed, famous, clever, published, or well-respected, or if they're politicians on our side or religious leaders. These are one-way communications seen as teacher to student. We cannot continue sending our children to Caesar for their education and be surprised when they come home as Romans. We don't have good models for people changing their mind in dialogue with an equal. To try to persuade someone is seen as manipulative and rude. It can feel like someone is trying to assert their authority over us. In truth, however, the person you can learn from is the one who feels that they have something to learn from you. Learning is always reciprocal. We are meaning-making machines. The capacity to make sense of our experience is innately human. I think, therefore I am. And then Descartes, when he finds out that people who don't think also exist. The person who actually wins an argument is the one who changes their mind, because they've expanded their neural network, their thought process, to make sense of a larger sphere of factier facts. They've cast a wider net, found a more efficient way to navigate the maze. The result of losing an argument should be joy, if the right answer is worth more than the ego boost of being right. And then a meme of two little boys with the one who won third holding up his sign with a big smile that says happiness is a state of mind. I don't judge people as good or bad. I judge ideas as closer or further from the truth. The only ideas I critique are ones that judge other people, the ones not in the room. This one disagreement, that we're no better than anyone else, keeps me in nearly constant conflict. Why is that? And then, when you understand every opinion is a vision loaded with personal history, you will start to understand that all judgment is a confession. Nikola Tesla, where have you been all my life? Our inclusion in the group is based on our unspoken agreement about our common superiority to those outside the group. We must agree that those others are excluded and never quote them, associate with them, or talk to them except to argue. On the other hand, it's considered rude to challenge the ideas of those on our side, especially to defend those who aren't. And then Chief Red Eagle saying, angry people want you to see how powerful they are. Loving people want you to see how powerful you are. Arguing with someone hostile can be useful because the more reasonable you are, the more they make your case for you. Of course, it's only useful if you have an audience or a copy of the argument you can later publicize. I've found that my secret weapon is quoting someone verbatim outside of their own echo chamber. Julius Schoolafish has a video, and he calls it a front-loading washing machine tries to argue with Teresa Carraggio. Logic is the wrench you toss in while it's going in circles that makes it spin out of control. The best arguments, however, are with people for whom you have boundless affection and who also like you. Arguing should be fun. You're putting your rooster in the ring with boxing gloves on. It's a jocular cockfight. There's no need to draw blood. And here a meme of a woman hugging a chicken saying, I dream of a better tomorrow where chickens can cross the road and not be questioned about their motives. But you do want to keep score, perhaps a musical one. There's a place you want to go, and the argument is the map to lead you there. The question is a quest, and there's no quest that isn't better with company. Wise and witty and agreeably disagreeable company. The hypothesis that I'm representing is that all people are intrinsically good, and when they behave badly, systems and stories are to blame. My question is how false stories and false systems have tricked good people into doing bad things. The root of all false stories is that there are good and bad people, and we have to make sure that the good people are in charge of the bad. The root of all false systems is power over others. Without the story of superiority, we would never tolerate the system of dominance. Finding the origin of these systems and these stories is my quest. And this meme says, I don't want to go back to how it used to be. I want to go forward to how it should be. Logic is bringing together two mutually exclusive thoughts so that one of them has to go. Cognitive dissonance is keeping two incompatible thoughts separate in the mind, compartmentalized so they can coexist. Contradiction is different than paradox. In paradox, two thoughts are juxtaposed that seem opposite on the surface, but reveal a deeper synchronicity, like the way that jazz chords clash, but in a pleasing dissonance that goes beyond simple harmony. Or the way that a slant rhyme is more satisfying and sticks in your brain longer than a trite rhyme. We lose ourselves in the things we love. We find ourselves there too. What triggers anger is when someone or something makes those thoughts with opposing charges come together and spark. However, that same spark is what causes us to laugh. We get set up with one expectation and something else pulls out the rug from under it. The meme is the naughty mistress of this sleight of hand. The best memes aren't mean. They have a good chuckle at ourselves and maybe where we've been. We recognize ourselves in another form. The opposite of an ego reaction is laughter. Nothing is more subversive than a meme because it hops, skips, and jumps right over those ego boundaries and puts the contradiction square in your face like a whipped cream pie. You can get mad or you can lick your lips. Belief is always a cloak for cognitive dissonance. It allows two contradictory thoughts to coexist peacefully and justifies the attack of anyone who threatens to bring them together with logic. Belief disguises itself as humility before a greater authority, whether that's divine or human. Yet the authority is always one who gives special status to the believer, makes them superior to unbelievers. The prime number of all contradiction is superiority versus equality. There's no way to be on both sides of that bridge too far. That's really the first bridge and also the last. To be morally better than someone, anyone, is illogical, even if that's Klaus Schwab or Bill Gates or Hitler. My Hitler journey started as a thought experiment, a spiritual exercise in assuming everyone does things for a reason, same as me. There's no one I could have questioned who would have more amply proven my point. The Second World War was caused by propaganda that divided people into good versus evil, at a time when Germany had proven that the bankers were making us all poor, and it didn't have to be that way. The same technique works today, and this meme says, "They're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs," proved more effective as a message than "let me help you buy your first house." The trick of all propaganda is playing on our superiority. If you refuse to believe in your own superiority, you'll be able to see through it like a distorted mirror. It reflects back a twisted version of yourself as another person who it wants you to reject. But if you peer into it, seeing past the surface reflection, you can see the figures manipulating you and why. And then if you squint and see past that, you can see the meaning and purpose that underlies every action, using it all for our greatest benefit. Socio-spirituality is taking a hard look at the reality in the world while questioning the reality of the world. To do the first without the second will make you a cynic. To do the second without the first will make you a schizophrenic. And this says the mystic is swimming in the same water as the psychotic is drowning in. Our reluctance to challenge the ideas of our friends enables friendship to be weaponized. Sometimes this is intentional as a means of controlling the opposition. Other times it's human. I find that I need to hold friendship lightly and be willing for people to take a break without taking it personally. When others take offense, it doesn't necessarily mean I've given offense, and sometimes they come back. Friends come and go like waves in the ocean, but the true ones stick like an octopus on your face. In closing, it's only in relationship where productive disagreements happen, where a new self beckons from the other side of the divide, or maybe the other side of the divine. And that relationship may be within you. As a friend says, when I feel down, I clean the house because it can't make me feel worse, and future me will thank you. There is a past version of you that is so proud of how far you've come, evolved so hard that they have to get to know you all over again. And just for fun, I have a clean sweep of my desktop with 2 more of Finding Birds that look like they are twice divorced, and you have to see that to really get it. And then one for Isaac Middle, our resident Substack wombat, as he launches into his on-road journey for the 2nd time. Thanks to the fates and an emu crossing the road without motive for sending him back to grace us with drum rolls and March Madness readings. We're all now better prepared to leap the chasm, and it shows the power, the grace, the sheer raw majesty of a leaping wombat. And for more, here is socio-spirituality and small-scale sovereignty, and this is Breaking the Spell. Thank you for arguing and laughing with me.